For the first time in months, we have heard from Aaron Rodgers publicly as he joined the Pat McAfee Show today to talk about his future in the NFL, or perhaps lack thereof. We'll dive into that in a second. Plus, got a few quick NFL draft stories, headlines that I want to discuss on as well. This is For Verts. My name is Harrison Graham. Let's talk Rodgers. The main part of what I want to get into is his reasoning for why he hasn't signed with the Steelers or, quite frankly, any team. He says, quote, stuff I'm dealing with off the field, in my inner circle, that has to take my attention right now. I wasn't stringing anyone along. I wasn't holding anyone hostage. I was honest from the jump about where I was mentally and some of the constraints I have in my life right now that warrant my attention. I don't mean any disrespect to any player on the Steelers, veteran or young guy that comes in. I'm just going through a lot in my personal life that has to take precedent at this point because that is a big commitment. When a commitment is made, it has to be an all-in type of commitment. I've been upfront with the Steelers about that and said, listen, if you need to move on, if you need to do something, by all means, nothing but love and respect if that's the decision that needs to be made. But there's been no deadline, and I've talked to Mike Tomlin, many times. Look, I'm not going to speculate what's going on or not going on in Aaron Rodgers' life. We all have things that we deal with. Some are serious, some aren't. It just feels like it's always something with Aaron Rodgers. Like, are you playing or not? And I get things change, and maybe there is a serious life circumstance that's thrown him a curveball. Totally understandable. But he did say at the end of the season, I'm not going to string this along. I'm going to make a quick decision. Well, it's been anything but that. He was cut over 2 months ago. At least the Jets told him, or almost 2 months ago, that they were going to cut him. Like, he's known that for a while. Like, do you want to play? Do you not? I get it, and, you know, if it is a serious personal thing and he doesn't want to tell us, like, he doesn't owe us anything, but, like, if I'm the Steelers, forget me, forget the public, forget whoever. If you're the Steelers, you're a week away from the draft. 1 week. I think you have to go into the draft assuming he's not coming. Now, maybe they know something we don't, but to me, nothing Rodgers said today is any closer to an answer of whether or not he's going to play football. So if I'm Pittsburgh, if I'm Mike Tomlin, if I'm Omar Khan, if I'm that organization, I have Mason Rudolph and Skylar Thompson on my roster, I got to be thinking long and hard about what I'm going to do at the QB position in this draft. You look at what the Steelers have at their disposal. Since they traded for DK Metcalf, used their second-round pick, don't have much, right? 21st pick. I mean, maybe Shedeur falls there. There's mixed reports on whether or not the Steelers like him. Some say they do, some say they don't. Jackson Dart, maybe he's there, maybe not. Sounds like he could be gone. 83 is a Tyler Shuck, a Jalen Milroe, a Kyle McCord, Will Howard. You would think someone is sitting there, but is it the guy they like? Is it someone that can play this year? That's a question mark. This is kind of a underwhelming QB draft. Day 3, the hit rate there is even lower. I just don't have a ton of ammunition to move up without using future draft capital, and you just don't know what the hell is going on with Aaron Rodgers. You just and this is the risk, and this is the game you play, and this is the game they've played, is that you go all in on a guy who's 41 years old, tore his Achilles recently, did not play that well with the Jets. Statistically, down the stretch last year, he was better, and I thought he played a little better, but it wasn't winning football. And you go all in, and you kind of wait, and you wait, and you wait, and look, say what you want about Russell Wilson. I don't think he's a great answer either, but you get to the point where you let him go elsewhere, and you might just end up with nothing. I'm just surprised an organization of the Steelers' caliber has gone this route. It's very, very strange. I'm sorry. You were not going to convince me that they feel comfortable trotting out Mason Rudolph week 1. Like, that is just not an answer. It is not an answer. He was so bad last year that the Titans kept going back to Will Levis, who's a joke, who is going to be playing in spring football in a couple of years. I think the Steelers are going to have to get pretty aggressive in the draft. And is 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers really worth this? Like, if the Steelers could take it back, would they just re-sign Russell Wilson? Sounds like they kind of tried to sign Justin Fields. Again, these are not great options, right? But, like, at least if you're the Giants, you've got Russ in your back pocket. Hell, even Jameis Winston's better than Mason Rudolph. At least the Giants, who have not been well run recently, at least it's like, well, we brought two guys who are at least somewhat serviceable options. Russ, I would say a tick more than serviceable if we don't get a QB that we like in the draft. Like, even if the Steelers make an aggressive move to get one, is it even going to be a player that can help them this year? A lot of people would say outside of Cam Ward, this draft is underwhelming at quarterback. And even Cam Ward in most drafts would be like probably a mid first round pick. So I'm surprised by the Steelers' path here. I'm surprised that they continue to seemingly wait this out. I'm not discrediting anything Rodgers is saying. I don't know what's going on in his life. But I will say this, you kind of have to question half the shit he says publicly because you just don't know what you're going to get. You don't know what you're going to get with Aaron Rodgers. He always plays the victim in every situation he's in. So, to me, the Steelers, they're kind of getting what they deserve because they went all in on a guy who's non-committal and continues to remain non-committal despite making it clear at the end of the season, I'm not going to drag this out. Yes, of course, things can change, but just with Rodgers, like, of course with Rodgers it's changed, right? Like, it's just classic. It's just typical. What will Rodgers do? Will he sign with the Steelers ultimately? Type S. Will he retire? Type R. If you think he'll sign elsewhere, type O. He claims he didn't pitch to the Vikings, even though that was reported. Who knows? I have no idea. It would just be purely a guess. I'd say it's 50-50 Steelers or retire. It feels like it could go either way. All right, subscribe to the channel. Tomorrow, we will have my reaction to the Chat Sports Live 3-round mock draft that we did today. A bunch of our Chat Sports team channel hosts made picks for their respective teams, and we did the first 3 rounds. So I'll react to that, give my thoughts on all 32 teams. So be on the lookout for that. And then I'll also, later this weekend, drop my latest NFL mock draft. So hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications. We're getting closer to the draft. We got you guys covered. Okay. Quick hitters here, some NFL draft rumors and storylines. Are the Saints going to pass on Shedeur? Because last week kind of felt like, the momentum's going to Shedeur. Then the Derek Carr story came out. It's like, they're definitely drafting a quarterback, and I still think there's a good chance they will. But Adam Schefter said today about Shedeur, saying, quote, it certainly feels like his range is pick 3 to 21, and I don't like his chances of him going 9th. That is where the Saints pick. So he's basically saying, based on the latest intel he's getting, he doesn't think the Saints would be the team that drafts him now. Smokescreen season, things change, who knows? But there's also other reports out there that Kellen Moore and the Saints might prefer Jackson Dart over Shedeur Sanders. And there's betting odds out there right now. In late March, Jackson Dart is the second QB taken, was like plus 800 with Shedeur minus 500. That has now shifted to like Dart plus 200 to Shedeur minus 150. So like Shedeur's still favored to go higher than Dart, but it is tightened up significantly. And look, if the Giants pass on Shedeur at 3, he could slide for a while, especially if the Raiders don't take a quarterback. And even if the Saints take one, if they don't take Shedeur, when is Shedeur going to go? Pittsburgh 21? There's been conflicting reports if they like him or not. So going to be very interesting. I guess if you're the Steelers, that would be a good scenario where since this Rodgers mess is out there, if Shedeur's sitting there at 21, almost feels like you'd have to take him at this point. Okay, Ashton Jeanty wrote a long piece about his journey in the Players Tribune and kind of sent a message to NFL teams that are considering drafting him or not. And this line caught my attention at the very end before he kind of ended the article. He said, it's tackle football. You know what I mean? I would draft the guy that they can't tackle. Certainly doesn't lack confidence. Every draft analyst you hear from that you talk to sounds like he's one of the cleanest prospects in this draft in terms of no red flags off the field, character concerns, none of that. I just think this guy's going to bring a lot to a franchise. He's confident. He believes in himself. He's talented as hell. He has the right mindset and attitude as a player and as a leader in a building, which is what you're looking for when you draft someone with the top 10 pick. If you're taking a running back high, he needs to check all the boxes, and I think he does. So we'll see where he goes, and maybe he goes to the Raiders, but maybe he doesn't. Maybe the Raiders end up taking an offensive tackle because a report coming out yesterday from Jeremy Fowler that Raiders left tackle Colton Miller is not at voluntary offseason workouts because he wants a contract extension. He's set to be a free agent after this year, 29 years old, 7-year starter. Currently, he's making $12 million. The tackle market has more than doubled that at this point, at the top of the market, so he wants a raise. Look, the Raiders currently do not have a good option at right tackle. That's one. Colton Miller's in the final year of his deal, and there's been no engagement on an extension. If they are unsure about wanting to keep him long-term, or if they feel like they can't or just don't want to pay him what he's asking for long-term, they might take a tackle. Why? Because to get premium tackles, you got to take them high. They don't know where they're going to be drafting in the future. Now, based on history, the Raiders do pick high historically, but Pete Carroll's there, Geno Smith is there. They could be competitive. And if they view this as, hey, this is our chance to get a premium offensive tackle, Will Campbell or Armin Mimbu, let's take that player, come back in the second round, take Trayvon Henderson, Quinshon Judkins, whatever the case may be. So I would not be shocked if they went in that direction, because if you don't get a tackle in this draft and the Colton Miller thing goes sideways, there's a scenario where you go into 2026 with 0 good tackles on your team. That is not a place you want to be. If you have to replace both tackles in the same offseason, you are in major, major trouble. Okay, which team do you guys think will end up drafting Ashton Jeanty? Give us your thoughts down below. Raiders, Bears, 2 teams tied to him predominantly at this point in time. Maybe someone else gets into the mix. Maybe someone trades up. Who knows? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. My name is Harrison Graham. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. We'll see you guys tomorrow with another episode here on 4 Verts.